can hear you.
You can hear me? All right, yeah,
Yes.
I'm just going to help her get set up right now and iron out the technical difficulties before her show starts.
So what do I do? Do I just press enter here?
No, you leave that alone. It's already streaming that. In fact, if you want to watch your own stream, you can do this. Is that on? Use your Safari.
Hang on.
There it is. Okay. Tab.
So if you guys have any questions or you know what you want to talk about, hit me up at WODU.
Oh, you just want that as an intro song?
Yeah.
Or do you want that as a background?
Kind of like my intro song.
Oh, your intro? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so you just type in WODU.
There I am.
Intro, please. Turn that off.
Ooh.
I'm trying to
Wow. Can you pass me my notebook?
There you are. There's gonna be a bit of delay. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You got it figured out. All you have to do before you leave, just turn on production, turn the volume up. That's it.
Okay.
Turn everything else down and off. So just turn both the well, you can turn off the lights.
Oh, there's one watching now, and that's me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's pretty much it. I mean, the radio shows don't get crazy amount of viewers, but I mean, it's gonna be uploaded to the channel, so it's gonna be uploaded to the channel, so you'll get viewers after. But good luck on your radio show.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah. Have someone come in and have a chat.
They're recording the podcast. They're re-recording the podcast.
Oh, man.
But I mean, you can bring on guest speakers next time if you want. I have to upload the video on my YouTube channel. You should subscribe to me.
Oh, my God.
You should subscribe to my YouTube channel.
Let's see. I kind of like need a guest. I need someone to come up here. Can you get someone from out there? Just ask him, hey, can you come in and have a chat?
Sure.
Yeah, he's right there at the table. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to have someone come in and sit down and have a chat. Completely random. Thank you. Yes. And this is what this show's all about. Just, I wouldn't say finding random people, but it's just about finding people to chat with and to see what's going on with ODU. Yes, it looks like he's coming. I actually have a participant, so this will be interesting and fun. I hope I didn't interrupt him from doing his schoolwork. Everyone's really, really studious here at ODU. But, what we're going to do now is that we're going to have someone come in. And hopefully, I don't know, just, I need to find someone random. Oh, he's coming! Yay, I get to have a random guest. And let's see, I was supposed to have this planned out, but man, things don't go as well as you plan. So I guess you live and you learn. This is my pilot program. Man, I have things written out here, but it's crazy. Where's my pen? Let's see. Ooh, 2 people are watching now. Hello, guys. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your support. And I hope that later on, things will get a bit more interesting, and I'll have a lot more things to talk about for this radio show. One of the things that I want to talk about is...
Yeah.
Oh, hey!
How's it going?
I'm good. How are you? Yes, I have a person.
Okay.
Here you are.
Have to turn on his microphone.
Okay. You get to be live on radio.
We'll be live on radio.
Fantastic.
All right, you guys have fun.
All right.
Be gone. All right.
Thanks.
Thank
Nice to meet
you.
you, man.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Shybrid. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Reese.
Reese. So today on this show, I have Reese. And thank you, Reese, for being a part. You
Oh.
can speak in the mic.
Sweet. Yeah. No
Yes.
worries. No worries.
So, for this radio show, this is my first radio show that I'm doing here. And basically, I wanted it to be an evening chat where people can just come and sit and chat and we talk about what's going on, like
Sure.
in the news, around school, or in the community, whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
So, are you up to date with the news and what's going on?
Relatively speaking, yeah, sure.
Or what do you think is going on with campus? How do you like ODU so far?
Well, ODU is great. I had no intention of coming here originally.
Where are you from?
I'm from Northern Virginia, but
Like Arlington?
not that far north. Do you know where Quantico is?
Yeah, the Marine base.
Yeah, the Marine Base. So right around there.
Okay.
That's where I grew up most of my life. But I'm an engineering student, and so my dream
Ooh.
school was Virginia Tech. So I applied. I actually got into their engineering program.
Wow, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. But I went and visited the school. Beautiful school. You know, I felt like everybody was pretty similar to me and stuff like that. And then I went and I visited here. I didn't like the school. I didn't like the campus.
What?
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you where I'm at now. I'm at a much different place. But basically, why I ended up coming here actually is I was looking for campus ministries. And this particular one that I found here was just, I think it was exactly what I needed
Okay.
to help my relationship with God. So that's why I ended up coming here. Well, that's part of it. Part of it was also scholarship money.
Nice. That's what I find a lot
Yeah.
here. A lot of people that come here usually end up having scholarships, especially all the athletes.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I think ODU is really good about they want students to feel wanted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like I applied to a couple different schools. I got into every school I applied to, and
You're
Oh.
that smart.
eh.
You're brilliant.
Well, the thing is, ODU was the only school that I felt like wanted me, which was really interesting. I mean, I got acceptance letters, and they were nice and stuff. But ODU, it seemed like they were really trying to roll out the red carpet.
So basically, when you got the acceptance letters, they were just being polite, saying, "Yeah, you can come to our school."
Yeah, it
don't
was like,
really need you.
"Congrats, you have the privilege of coming to our
Yeah.
school."
Okay.
And ODU was like, "Please come, we want you here." And so I visited, and like I said, it wasn't a huge fan of the campus. Now I'm a junior now, but
Oh,
I
good,
love the
good.
campus. I love Norfolk. Or I'm not even saying that correctly, but
I say Norfolk too.
okay, good. So I'm not the only one.
I'm not from here, so I
Okay.
think I have the privilege and right to say Norfolk
Sure, yeah.
instead of Norfolk. I don't understand why there's no ick in it. There's a oak, Norfolk.
Yeah,
you know?
it is kind of interesting, and I wonder too, because I mean Norfolk is I mean there's like a place in England that's called Norfolk, right? But I kind of just wonder about the pronunciation and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's really interesting. So you feel wanted and accepted here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely that's how I felt when I came here, and that's part of the reason I came here. And then yeah, now that I've been here for a while, I've definitely fallen in love with the school for sure. So.
That's good. That's the same way I felt. Like I'm from North Carolina, so
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I went to UNC Charlotte. So when you talk about engineering schools, I'm thinking, wow, you could go to NC State because they have a great engineering program. I'm not too familiar with Virginia that well, but I came here through military, so I was in the Navy first. And
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would always pass by the ODU campus, and I was like, wow. I always thought it was too far out of my reach to even come here.
Sure.
And I never thought that I would have the opportunity to come here. So I kind of feel like you. I was like, wow, I actually got accepted. And it feels good to feel wanted and to feel accepted. So I'm really grateful.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How long have you been in the military for?
So I joined in 2012. So I've been in it for 5 years. Had the opportunity to go abroad. I went to Okinawa, Japan.
No kidding. Okay.
Yeah, so I got to learn a bit of Japanese and have some of the food, and they eat a lot of interesting things there. Like I had jellyfish.
Yeah. I'm all for trying new things. I definitely tried that, but
Yeah. And it was great too. And they had sometimes like joint training activities, so I was able to meet some of the Japanese military, take pictures with them, and they were like really humble. As long as you go there not acting like you know everything and that you're all that, I think any culture will be able to accept you.
yeah, that's huge. That's huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, that's how I came here to Norfolk, Virginia, because Norfolk has plenty of Navy military. And then after that, I was like, I'm about to get out. Bless you. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry.
And so I was like, what am I going to do with myself? Like most people that are enlisted, like in the lower ranks, they're like, what am I going to do when I get older or when I become an adult?
Sure.
Even though
sure.
you're already an adult.
Right. Yeah. Of course.
But I'm just like, if you, I love the military, but it's like you want to better yourself with education. It's like, what do I want to study, or how? For me, it was about how can I give back to the community better, and I've given back to the community by serving the country. I'm grateful for that.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And so so I started looking into graduate programs, and so that's how I ended up with studying Masters in Public Administration. And the teachers there, they're challenging, but yet they're helpful. They want you to learn from the material and to see how you can apply it, so that not only what you're learning in the classroom, it'll be beneficial and helpful to the people outside in the community. So I'm like, that's interesting. So even though the work is challenging, it's challenging with a purpose. And for you in engineering, you'll probably be the next person to build the next Jordan Bridge, or a bridge that's much cheaper.
Hopefully much cheaper. Yeah, that'd be the goal, man.
So since you're a junior, what do you think about college life? How's it been so far?
It's been interesting. I think I've probably had a pretty atypical college life.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, ODU is really weird because I feel like a good chunk of the students are just straight up commuter students. We have a lot of commuter students.
It's cheaper.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. So I run a house off campus with some buddies of mine. But yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, there's not in terms of like social stuff, like fraternities and like parties and stuff like that. I'm not really into that. Yeah. So most of what, actually, speaking of which, 7:00, I have like a campus ministry thing I go to every Friday at 7, and actually most of the stuff I do is with my campus ministry.
That's really good.
That's what I spend most of my time doing. And other than that, I mean, I do intramurals and sports and stuff like that.
And that's what ODU has a lot of. They have a lot of communities and clubs that you can be part of. So if you don't feel
100%.
connected with this particular community, you can go here or there. That's what I found at UNC Charlotte as well. You had over hundreds of communities and clubs that you can be part of. And
For sure.
This is almost like a mirror of UNC Charlotte, but Charlotte was set in the city, and you had campuses. It was in Concord, like northeast of Charlotte, not exactly Charlotte, and it was really fun. It was like a miniature city.
Really?
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay. UNC Charlotte. So, actually, I've been to UNC Charlotte before.
Yeah. Isn't it right? It's like a miniature city.
Yeah. No, it's a beautiful school too. Yeah.
But this is like smaller scale compared to Charlotte.
Yeah, ODU is definitely probably more on the smaller side compared to UNC. Yeah. Absolutely.
But it was fun. Like from the library is 10 stories high, so you can see downtown Charlotte, which they call Uptown, and then you can see like across the way you can see Concord and the racetrack. And so it was not that far away. So it was cool.
That's pretty stinking neat.
Yeah. And then sometimes they would have a bus where you can go downtown or to Uptown and go to a basketball game. So, and one question I want to ask is, what impact do you think you can get from ODU?
So, in terms of like what ODU can kind of pour into me, okay. I mean, the obvious thing is a degree.
Of course, yes.
But yeah, I think probably one of the bigger things is a lot of what I learned has outside of just straight up like engineering stuff, is just basic stuff about how to like live your life. You know, self-discipline, interacting with other people and stuff like that. And I think maybe that comes with all school. I'm not entirely sure because I've only ever gone to ODU. But I think I've learned a lot in regards to how to live my life and how to manage my life from coming to school here, and what to do and what not to do. I made a lot of mistakes, pulled at least one too many all-nighters, you know.
Yeah, that's every college student, really.
Yeah, wasted a lot of time, had too much caffeine, all that stuff. But that's part of what college is about. You know, it's learning, and so I think ODUs definitely provide an opportunity to learn in the classroom, but learn outside of the classroom as well.
That's what I found as well. And I think with college, you're not going to do everything right. You're not going to be perfect, and that's what makes the learning experience worthwhile. And when talking with some of the students here, trying to get a sense of what I should do for the show, some people were like, you should talk about how college is a scam. But from listening to you, I don't think college is a scam. It's all in what you make it. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think to some extent, for sure. And one thing, so you may disagree with this. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on this.
Okay.
But I'm a big proponent of the idea that college isn't for everybody. And the reason why is I think we've created like a culture, I think, in our country, and even it's kind of a worldwide phenomenon, really. It's where, you know, you have to go to higher education to, you know, you're not successful if you don't go to higher education. And I don't think, first of all, I think you can definitely be successful without doing higher education, 100%. But in addition to that, I really the college tends to have this very traditional style of learning.
Yeah.
And it has very traditional, you know, fields and stuff you can go into. You can go into biology, you can go into engineering, you can go into, what did you say yours was again?
Public administration.
Public administration, yeah. So there's all these things you can go into and learn in college, and they're all great. But I think going to trade school, or I think sticking with community college, or I think starting your own business, I think those things are just as, they're, depending on who you are, they can be just as valuable for you.
Yes.
You know, and so I'd say for me, I think college was the right choice for me. I don't think I would have. I definitely am not creative enough to create my own business. I'm not. Maybe I could have done trade school. I love working with my hands and stuff like that. But I think college was the right choice for me. Other people, I don't think that's the case. And I've met friends who, I remember one of my friends. He actually came to ODU. He wouldn't mind me sharing this, but he came into school, and his freshman year, first semester, failed all of his classes.
Failed?
Yeah, and so then the next semester, he was put on probation, and then one of the classes they made him take was how to succeed in college. And then he failed that class, and then he dropped out.
How did you fail at that class?
You just don't do anything. And so that's where he was at, though. He's at a place in life where he wasn't ready for college. So for him, that money he put into college, it wasn't worth it for him.
It was a waste.
Yeah, because for him, he wasn't in a spot where he was ready to go to college, whether that was, you know, I'll go to college later on in my life, or whether it was, hey, you know, maybe go straight into the workforce, or maybe learn a trade, or maybe try to start your own business, you know?
Military.
Or go into the military, which is a great thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even, it's funny, because growing up around Quantico, I think, so in my graduating class, I think probably out of the top 10 people, I think 6 of them in my graduating class went to military academies.
What?
Which is really interesting, because these guys were smart enough to get into like Harvard and Yale, like no doubt, but they all chose military schools. So I just thought that was a little interesting side note. But yeah, I think for everybody there's a different answer and a different solution and a different way to go about things. And so I think, you know, college is what you make it. You know,
yes.
If you want to make it valuable, it will be valuable. If you come to college just for the you know, social life, and just for, you know,
to be a professional college student.
Yeah. I mean, if that's why you're in school, amen. Like, that's cool. Yeah. Do it. You know, you do you. But the bottom line is, you know, it's not going to be worth it for you in the end because you're going to come out with a lot of debt and maybe no degree. So
That'll suck.
yeah, that would stink.
But I do agree with you. I think that there is a time and place for everything, and that sometimes college might not be the right thing for everyone. And sometimes people just need to find themselves to figure out what it is do I want to study to make myself better in. Sometimes that is just a trade school. Sometimes it is just going to a community college. But I really think for myself that I think education is important for everyone. At least learn the basics.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Education is extremely important.
And like you said, like university, I think it's different than other things. And if you're not ready for that type of lifestyle, it's okay. It's not like you're in competition with anyone because not everyone is you, and you're not everyone else.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So, from listening to you, I'm kind of like coming up with questions that I could ask to learn more about ODU and ODU from a student's point of view.
Oh, sure.
So, is it true about the freshman 15? Do you believe that?
Oh, it depends. Yeah. So I lived off campus, so I didn't get the freshman 15. I think that's what it comes down to. I think if you live on campus, you're a lot more susceptible to it. One of my good buddies, he had the freshman 30, I think.
Wow, twice the normal
yeah.
rate.
So for him it wasn't good, but he came back. He came back after the summer and he had lost it all. So good for him, doing what he needs to do.
For me, it was like whatever was cheap at the time. And so I ended up going to these clubs so I could save money, and I would just get the food from them and then just take it back home.
See, that's the smart way to do things, It's like, I smell pizza.
Yes.
What club do I need to join?
Yeah. I could smell food a mile away.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
But when money is tight, you learn how to pinch every penny and to do what you can.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And so for a student, how has budgeting been for you? Is it easy?
No.
I can understand.
Yeah, I think. Oh goodness. Yeah, no. I'm bad with my finances. If I'm being honest with myself, I think it's an area that I need to grow in a lot. I think I tend to. It's really easy when you're not losing something, Mm-hmm. So if you're just swiping a credit card, it's like you're not physically losing something, and so it's hard to see. You're not seeing the money slowly drain out of your account.
Yes.
Yeah. So I can look at it and be like, oh, I mean, it's like this soda was probably like $1.70 or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so for me, I'm like, oh, $1.70, that's not too bad. That's not crazy, right? But, it's slowly draining your account, and, if you're not on top of things, you're gonna run out of money eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's been pretty hard, for sure, and I could do a lot better, no doubt. Yeah.
Well, that's true. I think that's true for all of us. At least acknowledging where we can grow and where we can improve. That's what I find here at ODU is that when you think you have it just right, there's always something to come along to say, no, you don't have it quite right. Here's where you need to improve. Let's see. In the freshman 15. So you're studying engineering. What do you plan on doing with that when you graduate?
I have no idea. Yeah, so I just started engineering. I think I would have wanted to be a doctor if I could have.
A doctor? Why?
Yeah. Because I've always wanted to do something where I felt like I could help people.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, a doctor is you're meeting very direct needs, obviously. So.
Like a medical doctor?
Yeah, medical doctor. Yeah, not like a doctorate of like literature or something. I mean, mad respect to them. They've worked hard to get that degree,
Yeah.
but yeah. And so the issue is I'm not good at biology. I'm bad at it. It's not my strength, and I'm just not a fan of it. And so I was like, all right, cool, doctor, check that off the list. What can I do?
Why did you want to be a doctor in the first place?
Okay, so I'm honestly, excuse me for going into like a backstory, but
Okay.
it all kind of goes back to I had the opportunity to go visit Honduras one summer when I was in high school, and it was only for a couple days, but I was working with this charity called Hope Worldwide,
Mm-hmm.
and they have So they help run a school down there, and then they have these medical clinics that basically have medicine, and people can get medical checkups and stuff like that. And so basically, and it's in this city called San Pedro Sula, which I think at the time was the murder capital of the world. Dangerous place.
But why did they send you there if it was that dangerous?
Beats me. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, we had armed guards, so that's pretty helpful usually.
Okay.
So we went down there, and yeah, it's kind of retrospectively, it's kind of interesting thinking about it because I had no skills. I'm a
Okay.
high school student, right?
Yeah.
So they send us down there, and basically what they do is Hope Worldwide. It's they have a lot of resources, so they a lot of times can get a lot of doctors and dentists to go down, and they have a brigade during the winter and the summer. And so what they'll do is they'll have these doctors and dentists come down, and then they'll be at these clinics, and people will come in and get medical checkups, and then they get prescription medicine from the doctors and stuff like that.
Nice. For free?
Yeah, for free.
Who pays for that?
It's all donated. Yeah, it's all donated.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I mean, once again, I hope I don't know how they do it, man. It's pretty crazy. I think a lot of it is because they're just connected with a lot of very generous doctors
Okay.
and who just care about people. And so yeah, basically, a lot of the medicine is pretty cheap too. It's not like we're giving them like morphine or anything like that. Like it's a lot of it's like vitamins, anti-parasite medicine is
Okay,
huge.
that's good.
Stuff like that. And so I went down there, and I just gotta see. I gotta see the huge impact that these doctors have, and just the looks on like the little kids' faces when when people will like play with them, and even how relieved the parents are when they
Yes.
they know that their child will be safe until the next time we come. And so that was. That was a really incredible experience. And I think for me, I was looking at that, and then even translating that into just being in the United States or wherever I could end up is like, I would have the ability to help people in a very specialized way that not a lot of people can, in a very necessary way too. And so
And that makes sense as to why you want to be a doctor.
exactly. So that's why it was so attractive to me. But then I was like, man, I don't have the skill set to do that, right? So I don't want to chase. I don't want to chase something that's not going to happen. And so I was like, all right, what's kind of my skill set? And so I'm good at math, and I'm okay at science. So I was like, all right, engineering will probably do the trick. And part of the reason I ended up choosing engineering is because of my skill set. But part of it was also when I was down in Honduras, the other thing that was going on at the same time is they were building a school.
So you could use your skills there. You're an engineer, but your math skills
Exactly.
together.
And so for me, it was a more of an indirect impact. You don't get the immediate gratification of seeing somebody's face being relieved, but you do know that you are actually helping people in kind of the long run, and so I saw that, and I was like, okay, there's something that's a skill I can learn, and I think I have the ability to learn it, and so I'm gonna pursue that. So yeah, that's why I ended up majoring in engineering. So then getting back to your original question, that was a long detour, of what I want to do. I literally have zero idea what I want to do. Because a lot of the opportunities to really go out and help people with engineering, they're purely volunteer based. And so since that's the case and they're purely voluntary, having an actual engineering job, I mean, I'm kind of open to anything. I think, in all honesty, I'd actually rather be like a minister than I would an engineer, which is, I mean, so it goes back to the whole value thing. Was it valuable for me to come to school then? I don't know. If I don't use my degree, maybe it's not valuable for me to come to school. But it is what it is. I think that's helping people on a kind of a different way, It's like one way it's helping people on a physical level, another way it's helping people on a spiritual level. And
I find that a lot of the international students go to engineering. And so if you want to be, or I guess travel abroad, learn what they do and But you're right. A lot of the work is volunteer, not unless you find a direct organization.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's interesting. So even if you weren't getting paid, would you still want to be an engineer and to help people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, ideally, I think it'd be great to be a minister and be able to be an engineer at the same time, Definitely would need to get some experience to be able to help people, because the stuff we're learning is like super theoretical, and the application of it's like insanely hard.
Yes.
But so I definitely need to get practical experience working a job. But yeah, after that, I'd be 100% happy, like just doing stuff voluntarily. I think I'd like to think. I guess when the rubber hits the road, it may be different. But I'd like to think that I'd be happy, living in a shack somewhere, eating rice and beans every day.
That's like the national trademark of Latin America, rice and beans.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, how can you go wrong with rice
chicken.
and beans?
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah. I don't get why anybody would want to eat anything else. I bumped the mic. Sorry.
I remember that there was this Dominican restaurant in Charlotte, and I would always love to go there and order rice and beans with chicken.
Yeah.
And they had the platanos on the side, and I would dip mine my platanos in ketchup. I like that.
Oh yeah. No, now I just ate, and I'm more hungry now because.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. This good stuff, man.
Yeah, and I think this next question ties back into what a person can get from not just ODU but a university in general. So what is it that you value? And I think if we can understand what we value, we can understand what we want from a learning institution or an institution.
That's a fantastic question. That's a really good question. Yeah. What do you value? What do I value? I think probably one of the things. That's actually a knob. Whoops. One of the things that I think I definitely value most is I think truth. Yeah, that's probably the thing I'd say I value the most, and it's kind of a hard thing. So the idea being, I think, for a great part of my life, I lived my life. My life was a lie.
What do you mean by that?
I was living, the way I thought was right.
Or you were just living what you thought society was acceptable.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. That's probably a better way to put it. I was, the situations and people around me dictated my actions. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was tossed back and forth by the wind, and it seemed good on the surface. I mean, I got good grades. I was, relatively speaking, obedient to my parents. I was respectful to my teachers. I was a good kid. It'd be weird to say that wasn't the case, but I think when it really all came down to it, and I looked at my life, it was a lie, because I thought I really did. I truly thought I was good, and even if I was nice to other people, or even if I was kind or whatever, it was really fake all the time. It was kind of this, and it was. I don't think it was intentionally fake, but it was fake. It wasn't representative of who I am, and it's because I would cater my actions to meet what I thought that particular person expected of me. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That wasn't a very eloquent way to say it.
No,
but,
that's good.
So yeah, for my parents, I acted a certain way. For my teachers, I acted a certain way. For my friends, I acted a certain way. And never was it like really, really crazy or really bad or negative by any moral standard. But it was. I morphed, and so.
You're a chameleon.
Yeah, I was a chameleon. Yeah, exactly. And it's not like the changes were that significant, but it was little tiny things that I do, and little things like that. And to kind of top that all off is I was just so judgmental of people. It was really bad. So I I'd walk into a room and the first thing I do is compare myself to other people, straight up. And it's like, okay, I'm smarter than you, I'm more athletic than you. I don't know. I know more about math than you do. I don't know. It would be stupid stuff, but I would compare myself to other people just to get my value and self worth from that. And so basically, it summed that all up, and I wasn't living in the truth, you know. And so, you know,
you weren't being honest with yourself,
and I wasn't being honest with myself. That's really the big thing right there. Is I wasn't being honest with myself. So I went ahead and I really, and you know, hate to bring it back to this, but it started happening when I started actually like reading the Bible, believe it or not. But there's kind of this pervasive idea in the Bible of self-criticism and self-exposure, where in the letters and even, you know, through what Jesus says and stuff like that, they constantly want us to look back and reflect on ourselves and on our sins and stuff like that. And so when I finally did start doing that, and when I finally sat down and I started to kind of take an inventory of everything I've done wrong in my life, that's when I realized, I was like, I haven't been living truthfully with myself. I've been lying to myself this entire time. And so it exposed that, and so that, I think that kind of skyrocketed it. It changed a lot of the way I acted, a lot of my spiritual life, a lot of my relationships with other people, but even the way my outlook on life, and I mean I would say it even bridged into like my views on politics and my views in engineering and different things like that, where what's not valuable is my emotions, my feelings. Those aren't valuable. My background, the things that surround me aren't. They aren't valuable. But what's really valuable is the truth. And so that's what it comes down to. It's like, am I going to be somebody who seeks the truth, or am I going to be somebody who's comfortable in a lie?
That's an interesting concept.
Yeah, because the truth is uncomfortable. It's an exposing light, right? So, anyway, that diatribe is over. But yeah, truth. That's what I value.
That's interesting, and because of what you value, truth, that is basically what brought you here to ODU, because of the ministry that you're part of, right?
Oh yeah. Well, even more specifically, I not to say that, you know, Virginia Tech or other, I applied to Cincinnati and Pittsburgh as well. Those schools have great campus ministries too, but the one that I found here at Old Dominion, what I saw was a group of people that was a lot different, a lot more different than I was, and so through that I saw that my strengths were their weaknesses, and their strengths were my weaknesses. And I saw that's the place I need to be to grow, because that's going to make me uncomfortable. And I'm going to hate it.
And you really wanted to put yourself in an uncomfortable situation?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I hate the city. I hate the city. I don't, you know, I don't like this weather. I mean, obviously that's a very surface level thing, but I did very want to intentionally put myself in a very uncomfortable situation, because I know that uncomfortable situations are what cause us to grow.
Yeah.
And suffering causes us to grow. Those things are, I think a lot of people spend their whole lives trying to avoid suffering. That's why we procrastinate.
I do.
Yeah. I'd be lying to say I didn't either. I mean, shoot. If I'm feeling bad, I'll just lock myself in my room and play video games or something like that.
For me, I would just like you do, lock yourself in I would lock myself in a room, or just listen to music.
Yeah, and those things aren't bad inherently.
But I would say it's bad if you know that you can be doing something else more productive.
Exactly, and I think that's the key thing. Is just like, you know, what am I avoiding by being here? You know, if I'm not avoiding anything by being here, then okay, this is okay. But if I'm avoiding something, then what the heck are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
It's like we we need to suffer. Like, suffering makes us better people.
I think every college student can attest to the suffering.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
The classes and
yeah, hands down. It's just like, are you gonna choose to deal with the suffering, or are you gonna choose to just ignore it? You know, and I think that's what it comes to, and that's part of the reason every time I've been to a place where people are you know, poor or destitute or need a lot of help or anything like that, what I found is that they're much better people than I meet walking around.
I think I can understand what you're talking about, because they're grateful for every little thing, and that they don't like take advantage of what's given to them, right?
Well, yeah, something along those lines, where it's just like they.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Oh,
so
go for
you
it.
Explain.
Okay, yeah. So basically, I mean, these people, you know, they live their whole lives, you know, just, you know, working so they can eat, and doing everything they can to provide for their families and stuff like that. And it's hard work, and it's hard on their bodies, it's hard on their minds, it's hard on their families, and a lot of times those people, and the thing is, they don't think that they're grateful too, and that I think the idea of suffering but also being grateful, that really does it right there.
Seems like a paradox, suffering and gratitude.
It is kind of a paradox, but for them it's like, okay, you know, this is the lot I've been given in life, and so I'm going to do the best I possibly can with this, and I'm going to be grateful for the little things. You know, it's when we feel entitled, you know, then we become unpleasant.
Yeah, and you take for granted everything that there is.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, even from personal experience, it's like I've definitely been entitled at different points in my life. Sure, I'm entitled now. I'm very entitled. I'd be lying to myself if I wasn't saying I'm entitled. I do feel entitled to be here at college. Straight up. But when we're entitled is when we become worse people. We're unpleasant. We're not fun to be around when we're entitled, because, you know.
And that's why you wanted to bring yourself to an uncomfortable situation, so that you could grow and learn.
Yeah.
And not feel so entitled.
Yeah, it exposes stuff. I think that's just kind of the general idea.
Yeah, I think I can agree along with you, with what you were saying about the truth and what a person values. So I can understand what you were saying. People who are poor, who don't have a lot, that's one of the reasons why my undergrad, when I went to UNC Charlotte, I studied Spanish, because I wanted to be a translator for the Hispanic community.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, because I wanted to try to be able to give back to the community, because I saw that they came here and they were really hard workers, and I saw people like take advantage of their hard work and their sympathy, or
Sure.
not sympathy, but their lack of English skills, and they just got taken advantage of. And
Sure, yeah.
so that's why I studied Spanish, to be a translator. And well, in order to be a translator, I had to have at least all B's and C's in the translating classes, and I got 1 C, so I didn't get my translating certificate. I was like, whatever.
Man, that's rough.
So that's why I was like, you know what, might as well join the military. I'll be able to travel. And so after doing my time with the Navy, I was able to use my GI Bill, so that's how I'm studying here. And so I had that sense of wanting to give back to the community, and so that's why I'm studying public administration. And now I can help both English and Spanish speaking communities.
And a little bit of Japanese.
Very, very. Skoshi nihongo wakarimasen.
I have no idea what that means. But I respect your ability to say it, whatever it is.
Thank you. Yeah, so the truth does expose things that are hidden. And you're right, suffering does help us to grow. I can attest to that in my classes. I do a lot of suffering with the reading. I think sometimes the reading is dry, dull, and boring, but it challenges me to continue to read and to see what is this author trying to say, and to try to see his perspective. And
For sure.
and I think it goes back to like our values, what we value and what we plan to learn. And I think it goes back to not only with what we plan to get from schooling, but what do we plan to get from life in general. And I think that's what helps us to grow into better adults. So
Absolutely.
with the next question, I like how you're able to talk and explain, and I feel like I'm learning a lot from you. So what?
Well, that's nice.
Yes. So you talked about truth. How would you define morality in your terms?
That's hard.
No, you're college student. You're like an engineer, so you're Albert Einstein smart, right?
No, definitely not. Yeah, I don't actually know how I've made it this far. We'll see. We'll see if I finish. But oh goodness. Okay, so I think with morality, it's very interesting because I think for most people, a lot of what morality is what it's kind of what you grew up with, right? So in America we have like a very set, set standard of moral values, right? So I think there's obvious stuff like don't murder people. It's like, okay, yeah, that's pretty clear. It's probably not good to cheat on your significant other. That's fair.
Yeah.
Most people, that one's actually interesting because I think that one is starting to kind of slip away. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So we kind of have these very base level morality. Or don't steal. There's another good one. Very, very base level morals, right? And I think a lot of that is just cultural. It's what we've been taught. It's what we grew up with. But I think those things are also ingrained within us a little bit.
How so?
So I think when we're born, I think that we do have I think we're born with a sense of morality, actually.
I think when we're born, we're the most selfish. Have you seen a baby?
Oh yeah. Oh, they're so selfish. Yeah, no, I'm not saying that we act in accordance with everything. And I think when you're a baby, I think babies are very intentionally selfish because they need to be taken care of, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they need to be selfish to live, and that's kind of why babies are the way they are, I think. But I think at the same time, once our brain gets to the level of cognitive function where it can really, make decisions for itself and stuff like that, I think there are very, there's that little voice inside your head,
Like what they used to show back in the 90s. You had the angel and the devil.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's that angel, right? And I think we all have that angel on our shoulder, and I think I don't think he's necessarily a product of culture. I think he's there, and I think we can choose to drown him and kill him, or we can choose to keep him safe and nurture him and grow him, and that's how people end up with their different like senses of morals.
Was the little angel there when you were being self-righteous when you were younger?
So I think here comes the key part, because I think what the angel does, he warns us about the big stuff, right?
Okay.
The stealing, the murder, that stuff. I think he's always there for those things, and I think any action you can do, there's kind of that sense of morality that's in the back of your head, So I think with your thoughts though, and with the way you perceive the world, that's kind of like a deeper level of morality. And I think the only way that can really truly be exposed, in all honesty, and I think some people probably wouldn't like to hear this, but I really do think you need God. And you need a little bit of the Bible in your life, to be straight up. I think if you look at a lot of the very base level morals that a lot of us tend to live by, everybody wants to be a good person, right? And I think everybody likes to think they're a good person. Mm-hmm. You talk to most people, they're like, yeah, I'm a pretty good person. And the idea of what they have as a good person is, for the most part, it's actually what the Bible, it's a very loose form of like what it means to follow the Bible. Now, I think you can take it deeper and say, okay, let me not just stop on the action level, but let's expose the hearts and attitudes and thoughts of the mind.
And that's what I'm finding in my studies. It's not about the actions a person produces, but what's the motive behind the actions.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that's the thing. That's the I mean, you can put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and it's not going to do that much, right?
No.
And so that's what action modification is. If you're simply modifying an action that you're doing, you're just putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. But if you actually want to get down to the root of it, you really have to take a look at, like, why do I do what I do? What motivates me? And when you get to that level, I think that's the level of morality that, well, I think, the world would be a much better place if we were all at that sense of morality.
But it goes back to what you said. We have to be honest with ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, it's interesting how our conversation has went. What I got from is that morality ties into what we value and what we expect from life, and it shapes our truth, right?
Yeah.
And that's interesting because for my studies, I'm starting to see that, like I said before, it's what's behind the actions that dictates whether it's good or bad. So you can see someone, like, do something bad that's immorally wrong, but if you don't understand why a person does it, like his motive, and you don't tell him, hey, this is wrong and this is why it's wrong, then I see a person will continue to do it. And
for sure.
And basically, what I'm also starting to see is how this ties into college life and why I do what I do is if you are able to do an action, it depends on what you're doing the action for. If you are doing, like, following the rules, like you said before, just to be a people pleaser, and it benefits you, what's to say that if you weren't a people pleaser and it benefits you, you wouldn't do the same thing, the action. And with studying public administration and seeing what politicians do, basically we don't steal, not because we know that it's wrong and that it's immoral to do such an action, but we do it because we benefit from following the rules. And if you were to take and flip it and do the opposite and to say, hey, I would benefit more if I were to steal, that goes back to the motive of why an action is done.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like oh goodness, I'm taking an ethics class right now, and there's some psychologist or whatever.
Colbert?
I think Colbert.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah. Colbert. Yeah, he has like the different levels.
Yeah.
I forgot all of them. But yeah, basically you have the people who just, for them it's all about the consequence. This is bad because of the punishment.
That's what I'm studying. Right.
Yeah, but then you have people who are on kind of the higher level, and it's like, okay, where there's a little more wiggle room, and it's like there's some more gray area, and you're like, okay, like, why am I doing? It's more so the why am I doing what I'm doing kind of attitude, and so yeah, that it's very interesting stuff when you get into like why people make the decisions they make, for sure.
And so after listening to you talk, it was very interesting. You talked about like you wanted to study something to make an impact on people, and it's like you're doing what you do not because it makes you feel good, but because you're doing a greater good. Is that safe to say?
I would like to think that's 100% true. Part of it is because it does make me feel good.
Okay.
I'd be dishonest if I said that, but like, yeah, helping people feels good.
Yeah.
I think that's the way God intended it to be. It's a little extra motivation to do it.
It is. I do find that for myself as well, that you feel better, probably incorrect English, but
hey, it's okay.
feel more better by helping or giving to someone else who will appreciate the gift rather than just keeping it for yourself. And I think that ties into like what we've all been talking about with the college life and what do you want to get from it. And in order to really answer that question as to what you want to get from your college life, you have to be honest with yourself and ask yourself, what do I really want personally? Would you say that's safe to say?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it comes down to. It's like, what are you looking for? What? You can even make it more broad. What's your purpose in life? Why are you on the face of this earth, And it's like, I think that's really what's going to tell you if college is valuable for you or not.
That's That's a hard question because it's kind of like you have to go on a soul search to answer that question.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I gotta go in a few minutes here because I gotta be somewhere at 7. Oh, okay. Cool. We're on the same page.
4 minutes.
Nice. All right. So I'll stay till then, unless you want to kick me out earlier. But so one thing I'm really into is so the Bible in the Bible there's this idea of evangelism. So Matthew 28, I think 18 through 21. Jesus talks about how he's sending his disciples out to go and make disciples of all nations, right?
Yeah.
And so, kind of in preserving that idea, I go around campus and I talk to people about the relationship with God. Random people. It's really awkward and really uncomfortable. And I think it's uncomfortable. And there's pretty much 100% chance that those people I'm talking to find it very uncomfortable. But it's
interesting. I'm curious. Since you want to be an evangelist, would it be uncomfortable for you to talk with a Muslim or a person who follows Islam? I don't know how to say it. I know I'm technically wrong, but would you go to other faiths?
Oh no, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I've talked to many Muslim people around campus before. I've talked to Jewish people. I've talked to a lot of atheists. A lot of people who just either don't believe in something or believe in different things. And kind of my I guess the Bible says that the path to salvation is narrow and few find it. And so following that line of logic, what that means is, okay, if the path to life is narrow, then that means there's a lot of people on the path to destruction. It just says it's a wide path that leads to destruction, right? And so if that's the case, it is despicable if I don't talk to people about God. It's terrible. Because if I think that people are going to suffer, or I think people are going to, go to hell or not have a relationship with God, then I need to talk to people about God, because that's the most loving thing I can do for somebody. It's more loving than providing medical treatment and obviously, once again, this is from like my perspective. Somebody else's perspective, they might think I'm a complete idiot, and I'm sure there are people who think that. But, and amen, that's cool. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion and thoughts and stuff like that. But, point being, a lot of times I ask people a couple questions. And one of the questions is, why do you believe in what you believe in? And then the other question is, what do you think your purpose in life is? And both of those questions, I get very interesting responses. Whenever I ask people, why do you believe in what you believe in? Almost resoundingly, it's because the response is because that's how my parents raised me. 90 to 95% of the time. And so it's interesting, even if you look at, so you could look at statistics and polls for political leanings, and you'll find that most people who grew up with conservative parents are conservative, and most people who grew up with Democratic,
that's what their parents are.
Exactly, and it's the same way with what you believe in. It's the biggest influencer on you is the person who raised you, or the people who raised you. Those people are going to control why you believe in what you believe in, and I think it's important for college students, everybody, to break away from that. Because it's good, and I think that's why the role of the parents is so important. But we need to
find our own individuality.
Well, yeah, we need to find things for ourselves. We need to seek the truth for ourselves instead of accepting what we've been handed. And I think that's what it comes down to. Anyway, I'm gonna be late if I don't leave right now.
Okay, thank you for staying, Isaac.
Reese.
Oh God,
No, it's completely fine. I forgot your name too. What's your name again?
Shiver like MacGyver.
Shivra? Shiver.
Yes.
Ah, nice. Okay, cool. Shiver. Okay. Well, hopefully I'll see you around.
Being here.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Had a lot of fun.
And thank you to the audience that listened. And I'll be coming back next week. So stay tuned. Thank you for listening. Bye.